Okay, here's a question for you. What could a 300-year-old steam engine possibly have to do with the AI that's probably on your phone right now? It sounds like a riddle, right? But the answer is actually the key to understanding, well, pretty much our entire modern world. Today, we are diving deep into the industrial revolutions. This is the story of how a few key inventions didn't just change things, they completely remade our reality. I mean, when you really think about it, they couldn't seem more different. One is this chunk of metal from the past, all gears and steam and noise. The other is, the very definition of the future, all code and data. But they share a really powerful secret. They were both the spark that lit a revolution. And when we say revolution, we're not exaggerating. Each of these technologies set off a chain reaction that completely reshaped society. They didn't just make us faster or a bit more efficient. No, they fundamentally changed how we live, how we work, and how we connect with one another. So our journey today has four main stops. We're going to start with the raw power of steam, then see how the world got electrified, jump into the dawn of the digital age, and then land right back here, in the middle of what people are calling the fourth industrial revolution. Let's get started. All right, let's start at the very beginning. We're talking about the two revolutions that built the foundation of our industrial world. First, it was all about steam, and then it was all about the magic of electricity. I want you to try and imagine a world powered only by the muscles of people and animals. That's literally how we lived for thousands of years. But then, in the late 18th century, everything changed. We figured out how to harness the power of steam and water, and for the very first time in human history, machines started doing the heavy lifting. The steam engine was really the heart of this whole revolution. It powered these massive factories that could churn out goods on a scale nobody had ever dreamed of. But the real game changer? That was the steam-powered train. It completely connected the world, shrinking distances and creating a truly global marketplace. So if the first revolution gave us the factory, the second one gave us the assembly line. Fast forward to around 1870, and a brand new power source takes the stage. Electricity. This didn't just light up our cities, it completely supercharged our factories, paving the way for mass production on a scale that was just unimaginable before. And this era wasn't just about one single thing. It was this powerful combination of new tech. You had electricity, the telegraph, and the telephone all coming together to make things like Henry Ford's assembly line possible. And the result of all that? Stuff from cars to everyday household goods became way cheaper and way more accessible for the average person. Okay, so we've covered the mechanical and the electrical. Now we're making the jump to the digital. The third revolution, which really kicked off in the second half of the 20th century, was all driven by a piece of technology that now fits right in our pockets, the computer. You could say that the third revolution took that assembly line we just talked about and put it on autopilot. With computers and information technology, we could suddenly automate these incredibly complex tasks. This freed up humans to focus on more creative and strategic work. It wasn't just a change in the factory, it was a fundamental change in the very nature of work itself. And right here, you can see that shift in action. Robots, all powered by computers, started taking over the boring, repetitive jobs. At the same time, a whole new class of workers popped up. Programmers, IT specialists, engineers, all the people needed to design and manage these new automated systems. And that brings us right up to today. We're now living in the fourth industrial revolution, or what a lot of people call Industry 4.0. So what makes this one so different? Well, it's not about a single technology. It's about the convergence of many technologies. We're talking AI, robotics, the Internet of Things, and more, all working together to create a world where the physical and the digital are totally intertwined. Just think about it for a second. You can use your phone to control the lights in your house from miles away. You can wear a watch that's constantly monitoring your heart rate. That is Industry 4.0 in action. It's this blurring of the lines between our physical world, the digital world, and even our biology. And it's changing everything. So, what's the big idea behind Industry 4.0? At its core, it's about creating smart factories where machines are all connected to the internet and to each other. They can share data, learn from that data, and even make their own decisions to get more efficient. It's almost like giving the entire factory a brain. Now, one of the coolest and most powerful tools in the Industry 4.0 toolbox is something called a digital twin. Imagine creating a perfect virtual replica of a jet engine right down to the last nut and bolt. But here's the kicker. It's not just a 3D model. It's a living, breathing copy that's constantly being fed real-time data from the actual engine out in the real world. So, how does this actually work? Well, first, sensors on the real machine collect all sorts of data. That data is streamed instantly to its virtual twin. Then, engineers can run all kinds of what-if scenarios in a totally risk-free digital space. And finally, the insights they get from those tests are used to optimize the real machine. It's this amazing, continuous loop of virtual testing and real-world improvement. So what does all this mean in the real world? Well, the results are pretty staggering, especially for sustainability. By using digital twins to optimize everything from energy use to material waste, companies aren't just saving a ton of money, they're building a greener, much more efficient future. This is what smart manufacturing really looks like. But, this new wave of technology isn't just about making things more efficient. Just like every revolution that came before it, Industry 4.0 brings with it a really complex mix of incredible promises and some serious perils that we really need to navigate carefully. The opportunities are huge, right? We're talking personalized medicine, on-demand manufacturing, super efficient supply chains. But the challenge is, they're just as big. How do we make sure that automation ends up creating more jobs than it gets rid of? How do we stop a new digital divide from making inequality even worse? And how on earth do we protect our increasingly connected world from new cyber threats? Klaus Schwab, who founded the World Economic Forum, really hit the nail on the head with this one. He said that in this new economy, the most valuable asset isn't money anymore, it's talent. As all the routine tasks get automated, the skills that are going to be in high demand are the ones a machine can't replicate: creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence. And that raises a really crucial question. How do we get our workforce ready for this new reality? So, that's the final question we're left with. The first 3 revolutions completely changed how we work. But this fourth one, with its power to connect our minds and our bodies directly to the digital world, well, it might just end up changing who we are. The story of this next industrial revolution is still being written, and all of us are its authors. What kind of future are we going to choose to build?